You might be wondering why I'm here. Well, today I'm talking about none other than Joseph Stalin, so I figured I might as well do it in Russia! It is cold, though. That's better. So, Joseph Stalin was born on December 18, 1878, in Gori, Georgia, to an average poor family in the Russian Empire. As a child, he only spoke Georgian, but he learned to speak Russian at his school. He also found something that would be very important to him later in life at his school: the writings of Karl Marx. He bounced around jobs until 1903, when he joined the Bolsheviks and became a follower of Vladimir Lenin. He had always been a schemer as a child, able to bide his time and hide his emotions, which played well to his ranking in the Bolsheviks. He was also patient, which was good considering how long he would spend in jail over the years. In 1904, he married a Georgian woman whose name I definitely can't pronounce, but that relationship didn't last long considering she died in 1907. He had one son with her, Jacob, who he hated. Yay! In 1919, he married again, this time to a young Russian woman whose name I also cannot pronounce, and had 2 children with her. His son would die in 1962 due to alcoholism, but his daughter only died in 2011, caused quite an uproar in the 60s when she defected to the US. Concerning Stalin's career, in 1919, in 1912, he was promoted to serve in the first Central Committee of the Bolshevik Party. Whatever that is. A year later, he was exiled to Siberia for nearly 4 years. You know, regular revolutionary stuff. The Bolshevik Party's big opportunity came in November of 1917, when they launched a coup and were able to overthrow the government. Lenin became the premier of the Soviet Union, although I prefer to call him by his unofficial title, the big head honcho man of all of Russia and the Soviet Union and all that. Trademark. And, Stalin was his secretary. What an honor, am I right? But really, the job was perfect for a conniving dictator to be like Stalin, since he could give his allies positions in power. Before his political rivals knew it, they were surrounded by a bunch of politicians who really liked Stalin and really didn't like them. For a while, Stalin, the suck-up that he was, doted over Lenin, who was in declining health from several strokes, hoping to win his favor. Unfortunately, about a year before he died, Lenin issued a statement that was quite unfavorable towards him. What? Stalin sucks and should lose his job? No. You're reading it wrong. See? Here you go. Stalin sucks and should lose his job. Huh? See, Lenin just meant that we shouldn't stall anymore. There should be change. What about the lose his job part? Now you're thinking. See, we shouldn't delay anymore. I need to lose my job and become leader of the Soviet Union. It's so clear. That seems a bit contrived. I mean, come on, the note was pretty clear. Narrowly avoiding political ruin, Stalin continued with his career. Once Lenin died in 1924, with his wit, charm, patience, and many allies, he was able to take the title of leader of the Soviet Union, joining the ranks of other infamous dictators throughout history, such as Mao Zedong, Hitler, and Mort. If there was one thing that Stalin wanted as the Soviet Union's leader, it was industrialization. This time, Russia was still mostly poverty, peasants, and potatoes. He wanted to change that. He put in a series of 5-year plans to try to bring Russia up to the industrial level of the other European superpowers. This was actually pretty successful. During World War II, after briefly allying with Hitler, Stalin's Red Army was very successful against the Axis powers. They had a whopping 35 million soldiers to offer, and ultimately helped lead the push to capture Berlin at the end of the war. And of course, there was Hitler's attempted invasion of Russia, where it was once again proven that trying to take Russia in winter is not a good idea.
But despite what present-day Russia may want its citizens to believe, Stalin was not a saint. For one, he had an ego roughly the size of Montana, considering he renamed a key city, Tsaritsyn, to Stalingrad. He put statues of himself all over Russia, got his name in the Soviet anthem, and even tried to rewrite history by changing books and records to make him seem like a mythological hero of Russia. And yeah, it worked, considering there's still a lot of Stalin's history that's unclear, and many Russians today still look at him as a national hero.
The dictator was also notoriously ruthless to his own citizens. For example, during those 5-year plans, millions of peasants reluctant to move were either killed or sent to one of his gulags, which were brutal work camps with terrible conditions. He was also very diligent about killing anybody who seemed to be in opposition to him, using a system of secret police. I mean, look at some of these quotes, it's pretty clear what his mindset is. Death is the solution to all problems. No man, no problem. The death of one man is a tragedy. The death of millions is a statistic. Gratitude is a sickness suffered by dogs.
I mean, he wasn't even trying to be subtle. Look at this speech he gave in 1946. All he does is talk up the Russian military and how successful they were during World War II, and displays himself as the heroic leader who marched them forward.
Then, in 1953, in the midst of the Cold War, with tensions and hatred between the US and the Soviet Union spiking, it seemed like the dictator's rule would never end. And then he died on March 5th of a stroke at the age of 74. The end. Kidding. Not about his death though. He really did die then. After his death, power was scrambled around for a little bit until Nikita Khrushchev came out on top. So, in summary, Stalin was a powerful dictator. He ruled the Soviet Union with an iron fist, carried them through World War II, and brought it into a much more industrialized state. And of course, he exterminated millions of his enemies, rivals, and anyone who stood in his way. Some say that he was a murderous villain, but is that true? Or was he really a national hero who helped Russia through its toughest times? The savior of the Soviet Union, truly a god among men! No, he did have a good mustache though.